Welcome to the Town Square Podcast. Bret Dunn.
Trey, it's so good to be with you, man. I've been listening to this podcast for a long time.
Oh, that's fun,
So
man.
it's almost like I'm checking off a bucket list item by being here right now.
Oh, that's sweet, man. That's very cool. Well, you are Captain Bret Dunn, a Newton County native, a Marine, a local attorney now, and a partner at Strauss and
Dunn.
Strauss and Dunn.
Yes, sir.
That's almost a country song, isn't it?
It sounds a little bit like it, yeah.
But man, just so glad to have you here. Sorry, Gabriel couldn't be with us today. He had a assignment in Augusta with the news station, but glad you're here. And I know what we'll get into a little bit later is you're making a run for the state Senate seat 42, District 42.
Yes, sir.
So excited to talk a little bit more about that. But first, just tell us, for the folks who do listen to us and watch us now, who is Bret Dunn, man? Where in the world? You grew up here? What was it like? This episode of the Town Square Podcast is brought to you by Luther Rice College and Seminary. A community's well-being often reflects the spiritual health of its people. That's why a local Christian college like Luther Rice is a critical voice in our time and culture.
You're absolutely right, Trey. And for me, this is more than just an ad read because I'm actually a Luther Rice alumnus. So my degree there helped prepare me not only for ministry, but also for engaging with the community in meaningful ways.
Yeah, same here. I trusted Luther Rice for my education too, and I can tell you firsthand, they're committed to shaping leaders who impact the church, the marketplace, and the world.
Absolutely. So listen, whether you're a high school student looking for a biblically based dual enrollment option, an adult learner wanting to deepen your biblical knowledge, or a working professional looking for development to impact your workplace, Luther Rice is a trusted option for continuing your education from a Christian worldview.
Yes, every program is 100% online and designed for your unique calling, from dual enrollment and undergraduate degrees to certificate programs and doctorate level study. They have options for the entire community that are biblical, affordable, accredited, and completely online.
All right, so here's the call to action. Take your next step toward your calling. Visit lutherrice.edu to learn more. Again, that's lutherrice.edu.
I grew up in Newton County. I was born in Conyers, which, I didn't have a choice about where my parents decided to have me.
Way up there in North Georgia.
But we got here to Newton County when I was a very little boy. Mm-hmm. And I am the product of a broken family, a split family. Mm-hmm. My parents got divorced when I was very young. My dad lived on one side of Newton County over in the Oak Hill area, mm-hmm. and my mom moved over to Mansfield.
Okay.
And so I always refer to Mansfield as my hometown because that's where, it's Mayberry. Mm-hmm. It's a great little town. A lot of the values that I have are a result of growing up in Mansfield, Georgia.
Yeah.
And so I was very proud through all the times that I was in the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And one thing that you do a lot is, you meet people from all over the country when you're in the Marine Corps.
Right.
And I was always extremely excited to tell people where I was from. And it didn't take long for anybody to ask because I sound a little bit different. I have a Southern accent, and I'm not shy about that. Uh-huh. I think it was Pastor Benny Tate that said, when we stop sounding like where we came from, we get in trouble. Because if you is who you ain't who you is.
Well, and that sounded just like him, by the way, because he's got a deep Southern accent too.
And so, I'm from Mansfield, Georgia. Yeah. My dad was a 37-year police captain out of Conyers, Jackie Dunn. Mm-hmm. He was a prior Marine. He served in the Marine Corps from 1980 to 1984. Okay. And so when I was growing up, I constantly saw the Eagle Globe and Anchor everywhere around our home.
Nice.
And, he had it tattooed on his body. Yeah. And a lot of the values that he instilled in me when I was coming up, mm-hmm. the discipline, the regimen, those things are what he learned those in the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And so it was really second nature for me when I actually became a Marine Corps officer. Mm-hmm. In 2019, that I had already been trained on a lot of those things.
Yeah.
So
did you really did you grow up making your bed like super tight and doing all this stuff, or is this something you had to learn as
I did start making my bed, but it wasn't something that was instilled in me, but I'll tell you what that was. Okay. It's the little things. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. No, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right.
those are things that are, unfortunately, on a lot of young people today, that's not so common.
Yeah, that's right.
And it should be. Holding the door for people when they walk in. Those seem like things we took for granted. But it was little things like that laid the foundation for something bigger later on. And those were corrections that I remember my dad making, Hey, do you want to go here? Yeah. Yeah was never and is never an appropriate response to anybody. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
It was all, and he always made that correction. You meant to say yes, sir, didn't you? Of course, Dad. That's exactly what I meant to say.
That's right. Yeah. I grew up the same way, man. My dad would have popped me if I told him yeah or nah.
Right.
What? No, you don't talk to me like that, boy.
And to end my answer to your first question, I went to Alcovey High School.
Yeah. Started
actually at Oak Hill Elementary School, then to Veterans, and then finished up at Alcovey in class of 2013.
All right.
So I'm a product of the Newton County school system.
All right. Go Alcovey.
Absolutely. Go Tigers.
Well, all right. So you served in the U.S. Marine Corps. Can you share a little bit about your time in the military? I mean, we're having this conversation now for the sake of the community, but we've talked about this a lot since my daughter enlisted, and I came to you and asked questions and had all kind of stuff. You even helped me out at a couple situations when she got injured. But just what was Marine life like, and maybe what made you enlist? Like, was it just that kind of you already had the seed planted as a kid, or?
Well, it's actually a funny story. You see, every time I tried to do something that God didn't want me to do, I failed at it.
Okay.
And there was, call it what you want to, there was a strong inclination for me to join the Marine Corps. And I really picked that up really strong in 2015. See, but in 2015, sequestration and everything else was going on. So at the time, the Marine Corps wasn't really taking anybody into the officer program that couldn't run a 300 PFT, 300 CFT.
I don't know any of those.
It's a physical fitness test, combat fitness test, and those are some of that's the foundation. You've got to be physically fit to succeed in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my OSO at the time, was a guy who is now Lieutenant Colonel Michael Johnson. At the time, he was Captain Johnson, and he told me, he said, have you ever considered being a lawyer? No, not really. I hadn't considered it at the time. But the reason that I wanted to go that route is, he says, we need lawyers really bad. And if you go in on a law contract to the Marine Corps, maybe 285 scores actually will suffice instead of the 300. So it's not that the standard is lowered, because as long as it's still a high first class.
Right.
But I ended up going to law school on the thought that I could go into the Marine Corps that way.
Okay, so you had sights on the Marine Corps, but you went the law route. So you went to law school first, and then
I did.
Okay.
So I went to Mercer Law School, and
Go Bears.
Absolutely go Bears, and I can tell you a whole reason why I did that. Just briefly, Judge Sammy Osborne had a lot to do with that.
Okay.
The fact that Governor Nathan Deal was a Bear, that had a lot to do with it. And Judge John Ott was a Bear. There's a lot of influence here in Newton County.
Yeah.
For me to go to Mercer, and that's where I wanted to go, and that's where I went. But I absolutely went with the idea that I was going to be using that education to serve the country.
Wow.
And so I did my first year of law school, second year of law school, and then that between my second and third year, that summer, I went to officer candidate school. That was the summer of 2019.
Okay.
So on June 1st of 2019, I stepped on the yellow footprints at Brown Field up at Quantico, Marine Corps Base Quantico, at officer candidate school. And the adventure began. That was 10 weeks of, it's not boot camp. It's really more or less a screening process. And I made it. And I commissioned as a second lieutenant 10 weeks later on August 10th, 2019. That was the Saturday. We traveled back that day. I think we got back home very, very early on Sunday morning. And the next day, on Monday, I was sitting back in law school at 9 o'clock in the morning in evidence class.
Wow.
So I was right back in the fight. And so my orders literally said, come back to law school, finish your law degree, pass the bar. Thankfully, I was able to do that on the first attempt. And as soon as I did that, I got orders and went back to Parris Island.
How about that?
Yes, sir.
So you bypass boot camp? I mean, I don't say bypass, but
no, sir. Officer candidate school it's a direct commissioning route.
Okay, gotcha.
So I went to officer candidate school, which for all intents and purposes, it is boot camp.
Yeah.
There are drill instructors there. They're called sergeant instructors at boot camp, at OCS. But I didn't have to go. I've always been an officer.
Okay, gotcha.
So I didn't, enlisting is generally your enlisted ranks, which is, private through sergeant major.
Right.
E1 through E9, and I went on the officer route. So when I commissioned, I was an 01, a second lieutenant.
Gotcha.
Eventually, I would rise to the rank of captain.
Right.
Before I got out, which I just got out this summer.
Yeah. So you were on Parris Island. That's where
that was my permanent duty station.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And MOS, for folks listening, is the military occupation specialty.
That's right. That's right.
God, man.
That's what we call jobs in the Marine Corps.
Jobs. There you go. Well, this episode actually will air on Veterans Day. And so as a veteran, I think it's appropriate for me to say thank you for your service,
Thank you,
first and foremost. But secondly, your dad was a veteran, and what does that day kind of mean to you personally? And then what's a way in which maybe our community can really kind of lift up our veterans better?
Well, it's important to draw the distinction between Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So Memorial Day in May, that is the purpose of that is to remember those that paid the ultimate price.
Right.
They lost their lives in service to this country, and that's a debt that we'll never be able to repay to them.
Mm-hmm.
Veterans Day is different. It's a day that we can say thank you to the veterans, the people that served honorably and have returned home and their service is concluded. And what are ways that we can better serve them? Well, I think that just like you did, I think it's important to say thank you. That was a, I don't need anybody to tell me thank you. I just don't. I didn't do it so somebody would say that to me.
Right.
But I know that can help some folks. And look, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people out there, a lot of veterans today that are struggling.
Yeah, that's true.
We have folks in our community that they went over to the sandbox and they went over to Afghanistan and Iraq. And August of 2021 was a hard time for them. One of my very best friends in the world was over in the Middle East in the 2000s. And when we had the fall of Kabul and Hamid Karzai International Airport in 2021, and we left and the Taliban took over the country,
right?
That hurt very badly to a lot of those people that had lost their brothers and their sisters over there. And those folks are back home now. And so I don't know that anybody is looking for a thank you, but it certainly helps.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is look, pray for them, and let them know that, I think that goes a long, long ways.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I do hope people will take heed to that. Let's talk about you practicing law now. So you that was kind of, you had these dual goals, right? You were going to get your law degree, you're going to go in the Marines, you're going to use it at the same time. And now, since your service has ended officially with the U.S. Marine Corps, you're now a citizen serving as a practicing lawyer. What is that? I mean, I know it's brand new, but what's it like now being in the private sector versus working on a Marine base?
The uniform has changed, but the mission hasn't. That's the way that I'll put it.
Okay.
When I was in the Marine Corps, I did a couple different billets, but the main billet that I had was I was a defense counsel.
Okay. And
serving and defending Marines in the Eastern Circuit. And I'm still doing that same work today. So although that I would defend Marines at court-martial, administrative separation boards, boards of inquiry, I was doing that in uniform. I can still do that as a civilian. I can still be retained by a service member and travel to that courtroom and defend them there. And I'm still doing that. And so it's incredibly rewarding experience. But we also do state criminal defense, and we also do some civil stuff. That anything that really anything that goes before a court, we can handle it. We know John Strauss and I is my law partner. He's also my mentor for many
John's
years.
A great guy, isn't he? Yeah.
He is, and was a member of this church for a very long time.
Yeah.
I watched him. I actually interned with him my first summer of law school, and I got to watch him day in and day out. Every single time he'd go to court, I'd go to court with him, and I'd watch him try cases to juries, and that's where I fell in love with trying cases. And because look, yes, trying cases to a jury is fun. Going in a courtroom and arguing, it's competitive, which I'm a competitive person, so that helps.
Streak, yeah.
But it's bigger than that. That's the base level. But the purpose that I see for it is far greater. You see, when King Nebi looked over in that fiery furnace and he said, I thought I told you to put 3 in there, but I see a 4th, and he is the likeness to the Son of God. I've been put in a position now where I can be that 4th man. And every time I take somebody into my care, it's not because they want to be. They've had some circumstance in their life that has landed them there. And I have an obligation and a duty to make sure, number one, that I make disciples of all nations.
Okay.
So I want them to know that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and that He is the Judge of judges. So that's a far greater concept than the judge that they're going to stand in front of in that courtroom.
Right. A representative of, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
and so
not the same.
that's huge to me. The second thing, though, is I've got to make sure that I return that individual to society better than I found them. I've been in the unique position to represent people who were truly innocent, and which is the scariest thing that you can ever do.
Right, yeah.
And particularly during the Biden years, I'll tell you this, there were people being prosecuted that should have never been prosecuted. And even though that person is, the client and I know the facts of the case, we know that this person's not guilty, we know what's right and wrong, they're still going through a massive, hard, very gruesome process. Their life is on the line.
Right, yeah.
And I have to be that 4th man in that fire with them as they go through that. Things don't happen to us, they happen for us.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's kind of my philosophy on what I'm doing as a private practitioner.
Well, I tell you, you set it up very intense. That's a very intense, like you see this as a calling, it sounds like, right? Like a vocation, a calling to help people that are in that furnace situation. So, man, I appreciate it. Well, I'd want you defending me, man. Like, when you come at it with that kind of intensity, I appreciate that. So all of this experience, military experience, legal experience now, how does it set you up for this kind of new public service role that your endeavor is at the state senate? So how do you think these things set you up for that?
Well, like I said earlier, the mission is the same. What is the mission? Is to serve.
Right.
I believe that the greatest leader that ever lived was Jesus Christ. His example is what I seek every single day to emulate. And make no mistake about it, I fall short.
Yeah, we all do.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right.
But I still aspire to emulate Christ's example. And I find that the more I dive into the Bible and the more that I read it, I find that Jesus wasn't about titles. Jesus was about towels. And you think about it. He goes into the upper room and he washes his disciples' feet.
Right.
And I believe it was Peter that protested. Why are you doing this for us?
Yeah.
We should be doing this for you. But it was what he was teaching. Actions speak far louder than words ever can. Somebody told me one time, they said, "Don't tell me you love me, show me and I'll decide." So for me, it's not at all about titles.
Right.
I think we get caught up too much in that. There's some folks that, for example, maybe in the church world, they want to be called Reverend Doctor so-and-so. And in the political world, they want to be called senator. And we should always show respect to our leaders, make no mistake about it. But for me, I prefer to be called Bret, and they say, well, why? Because that's my name.
Right.
You call me John, I won't respond.
On the Board of Education, do you know what the title is for that? It's the Honorable.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, you are honorable, Trey.
No, I appreciate that. But if anyone called me Honorable Bailey, I'd be like, wait. No, Honorable Judge Osborne, maybe.
Right.
not this guy. I'm just a board guy. Yeah. But anyway, I'm with you. Yeah. Just call me Trey.
Right. Bret. Absolutely. And so that's what it prepared me. Number one, humility was something that the Marine Corps gave me that I just, in full transparency, I did not have. And I think if you look at it, why are folks so caught up in making sure they're called by whatever title they have? I think a lot of it has to do with insecurity. I'm not an insecure person at this point in my life. I have the Marine Corps to thank for that. But I learned about what humility is. I don't need to sit at the head of the table. I'll sit off to the side if I have to.
Yeah,
and that's fine. It's not about that. At the end of the day, rule number one, rule number two. Rule number one, go make disciples of all nations. Rule number two, do everything you can to make sure rule number one happens.
There you go. Yeah. That's good, man. I appreciate that too, that humility bent, because it's not always easy. And certainly folks who, let's say you're elected and more and more people will come to you for, hey, help me with this. I need this. And it will get, it's easy to get that perspective of, well, I'm very needed. And then, then it can easily become something that it shouldn't be. But I appreciate the fact that man, with the Marine Corps background like that, you are humbled, right? They humble you, but then to build you into the best version of yourself so that you're confident like you are. You're confident in whose you are as well. And so I know that goes a long way in kind of keeping that humble spot.
And Trey, I would just say to any young leaders or older leaders that are listening to this right now or watching this right now, humility is a secret weapon. Golly, it's a secret weapon. I can remember so many times walking into a courtroom sounding the way that I sound. And folks automatically, oh, well, he's some Southern hick or something, and I want you to do that. I want you to do,
now I got you where I want you.
I want the, whoever the opposing counsel is to underestimate. That's fine. I also, because I don't go in there trying to act like I'm the smartest thing since Clarence Darrow, I'm certainly not.
Right.
But I want to emphasize that for me, when I learned the power of humility, that was a great day in my life, especially as a leader, because it is a superpower.
Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird.
It's a great book.
One of my favorite stories. But like the Southern drawl senator, I think he was a senator as well as an attorney. And anyway, man, you guys have a lot of similarities there. Have to put that one, you have to get something tattooed on you, To Kill a Mockingbird. So let's talk about, so we have a mutual friend, Brian Strickland, who is the Senator Brian Strickland in District 42, who's going to be now running for Attorney General.
Yep.
And so that's vacating District's 42 seat. I want to talk about, real quickly here about the district itself, because for people who are listening, what is District 42? It's not like you pass a road sign that says, now entering District 42, State Senate District 42. But it's most of Newton County, the majority of Newton County, barring just a little sliver of the western side, all of Morgan County.
That's right.
It's got part of Walton, let's say the social circle up to Loganville proper, part of Walton.
So you think of West and South Walton.
Yeah, that's good. Yep, where it butts up against Newton County. And then you have just a sliver of Henry County, right? Like,
that's right.
Out the Ola area, maybe.
Yes,
something like that.
And the Kellytown area up to the square in McDonough.
That's it. So if you really look at that district, quite a diverse district, right? Now, where really a good representation probably of Georgia as where you have maybe a deep blue center point of Atlanta, and you have a lot of red around in the rural area. But District 42 is a good, like, really a cross section of what the state of Georgia is. How do you feel like being able to represent that kind of diversity? You know, how do you feel like you could do that?
Well, and I'll say that I've done a lot of analysis of the election results of this district. This is a new district, and so I've gone back and I looked at 2024, and I wanted to see, you know, how did this district turn out, and it was remarkably red in 2024.
Okay.
In fact, the only county that Brian didn't win was Newton, and he lost that by 77 votes.
Oh, okay.
So with the way that it's drawn, it's a very competitive county, and so I fully believe that being a lifelong resident here, I can flip this county and make this county red, and then we'll have all 4 red, and it's really about a 60-40. It's pretty dramatically red.
Okay.
So I say that to say that, you know, am I somebody who is just seeking to serve Republican voters? No. I certainly can effectively do that, but that's not the only thing I'm seeking to do.
Right.
I'm also seeking to serve people that don't like me and that won't vote for me.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, how can I do that? Well, I think number one is I got to stick to my values.
That's
okay.
good. Yeah.
Those values are not, I just serve this group. No, not at all.
Yeah.
My values are, I'm here to serve God's people. And guess what? Those people aren't all Republican, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so at its core, you know, I seek to deliver results not just for one group or one county at all. No. I seek to deliver results for the entire county. Now, what does that look like in practice? That means that who are your stakeholders? There's a lot of stakeholders in Newton County that aren't Republican, and that's fine, but they're still going to have a voice at my table. Am I going to listen to them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I going to do what they want me to do every time? Well, the reality is no. But I'm also going to, I want to bring other people together. For example, in Newton County, we have I don't really think we should have sheriffs that are partisan. That's just the way that it is right now. So we have a Democrat sheriff in Newton County. We have a Democrat sheriff in Henry County. And we have a Republican sheriff in Walton County. And we have a Republican sheriff in Morgan County. I would love to have a district where all 5 of us can come together and talk about what do you need to serve the citizens of your county better, to make sure that we are keeping our community safe.
Yeah, all the citizens.
That's not a Republican or Democrat issue.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's an issue for all of us, that we all want to live in a place that's safe. Okay, that's huge. But the same thing goes for district attorneys. You know, today we just announced the endorsement of Wright Barksdale. He's the district attorney for the Okmulgee Judicial Circuit, which is 8 counties through Middle Georgia, but also includes Morgan County. So when you talk about stakeholders, he's somebody that I want at the table. Randy McGinley and Newton and Walton County, that's somebody I want at the table. Over in the Flint Judicial Circuit, I want that district attorney there too. Is that district attorney a Republican? No, but that's who I want at the table with me. Okay, because I want a district attorney doing what a district attorney is supposed to do. Now, do I represent criminal defendants? Yes, but the safety and security of our district, of our home, is paramount to me. My dad was a 37-year police veteran. I love police officers. In fact, I wear on my wrist today and every day a back the blue bracelet. I don't wear it so people see it and go, okay, he backs the blue. No. That serves as a reminder to me. Okay, and you know, I look at part of my on the I guess the private practice side. You know, I seek to serve law enforcement officers as well. We all remember in 2020 when tensions were incredibly high.
Yeah.
And there were big movements across the nation to defund the police and all these, horrible things. At that time, police officers, not only did they have to go to work every day and kiss their families goodbye, and not know whether or not they were going to be able to come home and tuck their kids into bed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know if that was the last time they were going to see their wife,
Mm-hmm.
because they could lose their life doing what they do every day.
Mm-hmm.
But in that time, and even up until today, they have to be concerned about going to jail.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because of a decision that they had to make in the heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I seek to serve law enforcement officers too. There's a guy here in this state named Lance LaRusso who's done a great job at that for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I can, kind of fill the void that will eventually be left by Lance as he moves on.
Okay. Well, I know just I follow you on Facebook and stuff, and certainly have pledged my support to you.
And thank you.
Yeah, well, no problem. And it's odd now. Gabriel's not here. He hasn't pledged his support to anybody. So it would have been. I wish he'd have been here that we could have a little more robust conversation. Some people are going to say I'm not going to push hard enough on you, but it's like, well, I can't. I like a lot of the stuff he says. But as you were talking about the district and I've seen just over and over all these endorsements, man. Like, you've really gotten a lot of folks behind you and behind this campaign. How does that feel, man, to have like these people who are veterans and people in important positions saying, yeah, I support this guy? This episode of the Town Square Podcast is brought to you by our friend Leanne Long at RE/MAX Covington.
When it comes to buying or selling a home, experience matters, and nobody brings more experience to the table than Leanne Long. With over 37 years in real estate and more than 25 years as a leading realtor in the East Metro Atlanta market, Leanne is the name families across Newton Rockdale, Walton, Morgan, Jasper, and Oconee counties trust.
Yeah, Leanne is more than just an agent. She's a professional, a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, and honored as Realtor of the Year. Her expertise in negotiations, property management, and even specialized transactions like short sales and foreclosures means that you're in the very best hands. Whether you're selling and want the highest return, or if you're searching for your dream home, Leanne's can-do attitude and proven results will guide you every step of the way.
Now, Leanne is the broker, owner, and leader of the team at RE/MAX around Atlanta East in Covington, and she's built a reputation for professionalism, integrity, and putting her clients first.
So if you're ready to make your next move, choose the realtor who knows this market inside and out.
Call Leanne Long at RE/MAX around Atlanta East in Covington today at 770-851-0380. You need to hear that again, don't you? 770-851-0380, or visit her online at leannelong.com.
Well, it's an honor.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I don't like to use the word proud.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like that word. I understand what we're trying to say when we use it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for all their support, and I do not take it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that relationships are what make the world go round.
Mm-hmm.
For me, building relationships is a key part of being an effective leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talked earlier about having stakeholders and having a seat at the table,
Mm-hmm.
every year the General Assembly undertakes the crafting and drafting and ultimately the passing or not of legislation that concerns all the different groups that we have in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the law enforcement perspective, the Senate Judiciary Committee, well, they're going to have a huge amount of say on the penal code and how things are passed there, and what is the law that we're going to apply in the criminal justice system. Well, we need to have all of those people at the table, and how can you have to do that by building relationships. I'm far more interested in having the relationships with them when I'm in the state Senate than I am when I'm, that's the real prize, because I want to make sure that in order to be the best representative in the state Senate that I can, I need to make sure those relationships are there.
Right.
So it's always been a huge deal for me to make sure that I'm building relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I just have to thank Jesus Christ for the opportunity that He's given me to have the support that I have. Mm-hmm. There's no other way for me to explain it. I'm just a I'm at my core, I'm just an old country boy from Mansfield, Georgia.
Well, listen, man, your values bleed out of you. Like, it's hard. There's no way to avoid them. We hear them, we see them. And I'll just go here. Like, your faith is so important to you. Like, you've spoken about it several times already. In faith and then public service, how do you see your faith really defining and speaking into these values that are just pouring out of you? Like, why is that so important? Like, why is it so important to you?
Well, it guides everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not. I think one thing that we've really messed up in this country is we have, in many ways, the church hasn't gotten involved as it should be.
Okay.
Over the last, especially 30 years,
mm-hmm.
and there was a big change in that in 2024,
mm-hmm.
and the result was astounding. The result was a victory in all the swing states.
Okay.
The result was an increase in voting turnout by evangelical Christians.
Uh-huh.
So for me, this country was founded on Christian principles.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Constitution of Georgia and you look at the preamble to the Constitution of Georgia, it talks about we draw this based on the providence of Almighty God.
Hmm.
And how do you balance it? Well, I guess I'd balance it the same way as our founding fathers did. And that is, the two can exist together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bible, I think, is the greatest blueprint for how to run a society.
Hmm.
And when we did it that way, we had a large amount of success in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about making America great again.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like in practice? Well, it looks like going back to living by those values. Look, dads need to be waking up on Sunday morning and taking their children to church, taking their family to church. I'm not at all saying that dads need to be the chief in their homes, but they certainly should be the priest in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest leadership principle I've ever known is monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
A state senator will go to Atlanta and work on legislation for 3, maybe 4 months out of the year for the session. What are you going to do with the rest of that time?
Right.
That's where you have to be the leader every single day, because, you know, one thing is this, is when I was in the Marine Corps, we were dedicated to leading Marines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when I'm not on the clock,
right,
eyeballs are still watching you.
Mm-hmm.
People are still looking for that example. And for me, if I'm elected or not elected, but if I'm elected, I'm telling you, the example that I seek to set is the godly example. Mm-hmm. That same example that we were talking about earlier, the example in emulating Jesus Christ.
Right, yeah.
So that's how it guides every single thing that I do. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe that before any greater important undertaking, we should invoke the aid of Almighty God. We should pray before everything we do. And that's, you know, I'll certainly consult with other community leaders, with the stakeholders in our community, but make no mistake about it, I'm going to absolutely be consulting with God Almighty before I do anything, before I cast any votes. Because I think it's that important.
Mm-hmm. You represent Him first.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so you have a little one now, right?
I do.
I don't want to air all your personal stuff here, but Jack, is that right?
His name is Jack. That's right.
And when you get home, let's say you come home from the Dome, you know, two marches from now, and you've had a tough day battling legislation, he's not going to care if you're a senator or not, is he?
Nope.
He's like, what's Dad do?
That's
I'll
right.
do like Dad does. Man.
And
cool.
he's been Jack has been such a huge blessing to Kennedy and I.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every good child's a gift from the Lord, and he has been just a tremendous gift to us.
It's a game changer, isn't it?
It is.
You didn't think you could love like that, did you?
Well, it's, you know, what do you hear when you're getting ready to have a baby? Everybody comes up to you, man, your life's going to change. Everything's going to change. And of course, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know it's going to change. You know, things are going to change. It's hard it's not a tangible thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really put into perspective how much it does change. Mm-hmm. But now I know that I have to spend every single day that that God gives me the opportunity to breathe His air, that I'm making sure that I leave this place better than I found it.
Mm-hmm.
And we take that and make sure that Jack grows up in a better society.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
I think one thing we do as Christians that we get in trouble is we're so focused on the next life.
Mm-hmm.
And most certainly that's hugely important.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake, what we do here is just is equally important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God didn't give us all the dominion over the animals and give us all the responsibilities that He gave us just for us not to be focused on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell you, the secular world is absolutely focused on this. And if we're not focused on this as the church and as Christians, we're going to have a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm absolutely focused on making sure that we make this world that we live in the best that we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for Jack, but that's not just for Jack. That's
Mm-hmm.
for everybody.
Yeah. So what are some of those? I want to hear what are some of those tangible things you do see where maybe our way of life or the American way is under attack, right? And what are some of the ways that those values? Because I think you're really connecting them strongly to your Christian faith and the Judeo-Christian principles that the country's built on. So you're saying some of that must be under attack. You've got to do something. Something has compelled you to say, I'm going to run for Senate for Jack and for all these other kids and our next generation. And there's people who are alive right now. But so what is it that compels you? Like, what is it that's like under attack? What is driving you to go, I've got to make a difference?
If there, let me just put it to you like this. As long as babies are still being murdered in this country, I've got a mission.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an abolitionist. I do not believe in the institution of abortion, period. The only exception that I can possibly fathom would be the health of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if there's a preacher in this country that isn't standing in the pulpit and advocating for the abolition of abortion, the murdering of young life, that person should resign. In the same way, the institution of marriage is incredibly important to me. Now, I'm not at all saying that same-sex couples shouldn't be able to marry. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that we have set our society is set up that marriage is between one man and one woman.
Mm-hmm.
You said, where do you get that from, Brett? The Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, look, one thing that when we got off things started getting bad is we had a mom, we had a dad and a household, and we had children. Fatherlessness is a problem in this country right now.
Sure.
It's a major issue. I'll tell you that I do some family law work, and I will represent dads from time to time, and we go into a courtroom, and it's a child custody issue.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, whether it's true or not, when we go in there, dad feels like he's already fighting 2 touchdowns behind.
Right.
It should not be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the law does say there's no presumption in favor of either party.
Mm-hmm. But we all see it.
Right. So what if there was a presumption in favor of joint custody? What if there was a presumption in favor of, okay, the presumption is that both of you should have, dad too, should have custody of the child just as much as the mom should.
Right.
2 very different roles in a household.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it is, I have to think, what are we showing or what are we saying to dads when they can just, if a court battle happens, God forbid, they could lose any,
parental rights. Yeah.
Their parental rights don't matter as much.
Right.
We're saying a whole lot by doing that.
Yeah. It should be neutral, right? It should start at neutral.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man. So, all right. So the unborn, high respect for life, families, the fatherless issue is a huge issue.
And one more that's on my mind right now is DEI.
Okay.
I saw what DEI does in the military. I saw it firsthand.
All right.
We should be a merit-based society. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that we're excluding anybody. No, not at all. But what we're saying is that merit matters. One of the first things that happened when I was at Parris Island in early 2021 is the drill instructor. We used to have 4th Recruit Training Battalion. 4th Recruit Training Battalion was where all of the female recruits in the United States were trained. So even if they were coming from the West Coast, they would come to 4th Recruit Training Battalion at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, and they would be trained there. You had all male drill instructor teams. You had all female drill instructor teams. There was a big push to disband 4th Recruit Training Battalion, and ultimately that did happen. So now there's only 3 training battalions on Parris Island. They started integrating the drill instructor teams. You had male drill instructors and female drill instructors on teams. It doesn't work. You say, how do you know? Well, because, listen, I represented a lot of drill instructors in my time as a defense counsel. I actually worked as a series commander on the drill field at Parris Island India Company, which is in 3rd Recruit Training Battalion. And what I saw was we're placing male drill instructors and female drill instructors, and when we put them on the same team together because of DEI policies, we're putting them at an inherent disadvantage from the get-go. You said, Brett, what does that look like? Well, number one, when you have, and we're getting in the nitty-gritty of recruit training, but if you have a male that goes onto a deck, and when I say a deck, that's like a squad bay. He goes into a squad bay. He has a loud, booming voice. He's a male drill instructor, and he's going to get a certain response out of the recruits, okay? And I've seen some of the female drill instructors I've seen are some of the best in the world, and they're incredible. And I'm not at all saying that female drill instructors aren't great. They are incredible people and great Marines. But then they have to go out there on that same deck that might be all males, and then they have to raise the bar in order to get that same discipline or respect out of those recruits.
Right.
And it's hard for them. So what do they have to do sometimes? Violate the recruit training order. At least they feel like they have to violate the recruit training order. And then what happens? They end up in my office.
Right.
And we're talking about saving their career or their life if they're having to go to a court-martial.
Man.
So I saw the impact of that firsthand. And we were trying to fix something that wasn't broken.
Right.
We were fixing it in the name of being woke, in the name of DEI. And that's not the way that it should be done. Things like critical race theory have no place in our school. Why? Because it creates a victimhood mentality from the get-go. We shouldn't be preaching to children why they're at a disadvantage or why another group is bad compared to them. Not at all.
Not based on their color, skin color, for sure.
Absolutely not.
Right. Yeah.
And so I am. Those are things like that. You notice they don't, but what's interesting to me is they don't go and they don't push that in nursing homes. They don't push that in senior centers.
Okay. I see where you're going.
They're pushing it on my kids.
Yeah, right.
And I have a major issue with that.
Yeah.
So in the state Senate, I'm going to be a huge proponent of making sure that we're not pushing those types of that type of education on our kids. What does that look like in practice? Well, it looks like if let's say a particular school district, maybe in a bluer area, wants to push that type of ideology, the parent should have the right to opt out of that. So a parent should be able to say, "I don't want my kid learning about what transgenders are and about mutilating their bodies. I don't want my kid exposed to that." The parent should have the right to opt out and not have to their child not be exposed to that. So the parental rights in that context are hugely important.
Right. Well, man, I see some topics you'll get passionate about for sure. So, are there others? Do I dare dig deeper here and just say like what Second Amendment? I mean, you're a Marine, so I mean you certainly believe in our Second Amendment rights.
When I was at Georgia State. In 2000, that's where I went to my undergrad. That was from 2013. I graduated in December 2016. and I was pushing so hard to get campus carry passed. That was probably the first time I ever really lobbied hard for legislation to get passed. Unfortunately, when I was there, Governor Deal vetoed the first version.
Mm-hmm.
It came back the next year, and thankfully he signed it before he left office.
Okay.
So we have campus carry. But what were some of the things that I was seeing at Georgia State? Look, we had armed robberies happening in the library at Georgia State.
Downtown campus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's before we had the satellite campuses.
Okay.
There were armed robberies happening in there.
Yeah.
Campus carry passed. Do you know how many armed robberies there have been in the library since?
I don't guess.
0.
Right.
0. I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The Second Amendment wasn't designed for people to go hunting. That's not why it's there.
Right.
It's not designed for people to go do recreational shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. If you listen to the left, if you listen to folks on the left, like Bernie Sanders, for example, say, well, I love hunters up in Vermont. We love hunters to be able to shoot with their single action, bolt action rifle.
Right.
Not why it was created.
Mm-hmm.
It was created to defend against tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a people that it's in our DNA as Americans to oppose tyranny.
Right.
And if a government does become too big and too powerful and start stepping on the rights of people, like telling churches that they can't operate, telling churches that they're not essential. In California, churches were deemed non-essential during COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Strip clubs, marijuana dispensaries, those types of places were deemed essential.
Right. Wide open.
We've missed it. God help us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, I'm a huge believer in the Second Amendment, and also, when it comes to law enforcement, I love my friends in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
When Brian Strickland, who's a great friend of mine, and I love him to death, he's been a huge mentor to me over the years. In fact, I helped him get elected in Newton County back when he first became the senator for this district.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a bill right now that he's trying to get through the session that talks about, or through the General Assembly this coming session. And that bill is, he's named it after, I believe, a law enforcement officer. But what that bill gets at is, let's say Matt Cooper, okay, a hero for Covington,
right.
No doubt about it, and a tremendous human being. We all remember, I think, where we were in 2018 when that happened.
Man,
I certainly do.
Yeah.
What Senator Strickland's bill does is it makes sure that when people or law enforcement officers are injured in the line of duty, they're going to, there's now a duty on the law enforcement agency.
Mm-hmm.
There's a duty on the workman's comp agency to inform that injured officer about the benefits that they can have as a result of their injury.
Right, right.
The duty should not be on the injured officer who got shot in the face to go determine what they can and cannot get.
Right, right.
When they can't work.
Right. You take care of that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those are little things, but they're so critically important. I hope the General Assembly passes that bill.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. He talked about that a little bit when he was on the podcast. Well, is there any man, I don't know. You're like part fundamentalist preacher, part politician, so I can't tell.
Well, and I've had a lot of juries after the fact, and we always debrief cases after I get done trying a case to a jury, and the common refrain is you were like my preacher.
Yeah.
So
you definitely have that vibe, man, and your faith just bleeds out. So it's very cool. Well, look, give us you've given us some of the frustration, some of the angst. What are some things that you're really positive about? Some things you're really hopeful about within District 42 and just in our community in general?
Well, I'll tell you that really since September 10th of this year, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, I have seen more young men coming back to church than ever before. I go to county GOP meetings. And when I used to back in the day, there was only generally older folks that were there.
Right.
Now those meetings are filled with young men and young women. There's something happening here. There's a revival sweeping across our country. I see it here in District 42,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm excited that we have leaders like in Walton County, that we've got Keith Brooks as a sheriff there,
Mm-hmm.
and they just got a brand new facility, a new law enforcement center. And I went and toured that place, and it's an incredible facility that they have. It's a campus. Walton County is set up now to make sure that they keep that community safe.
That's great.
He's a phenomenal leader in that county. I'm very excited about what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also very excited about what's happening in Morgan County with Tyler Hooks.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal sheriff. Look, I went out there at his request not too long ago to meet with him about something that we need to that needs to happen in the legislature, and we can talk about that. But
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, he did not expect me to go and look at the jail,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to see it. And so he was like, absolutely no problem. So we go back there. You can eat off the floor in that jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's how clean it is.
Yeah.
When we went and we watched in the tower, and we looked at the different pods. You talk about a very well-behaved group of inmates there. There's discipline. It's not a madhouse.
Right.
And they're doing an exceptional job.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
He's a great sheriff. And I think, boy, we could probably use a few more hands down there, you know? 'Cause
Absolutely.
that's a huge, it's as big or bigger landmass as Newton County.
Yeah, and he's
And they
done a
only got a
phenomenal
handful of
job at
guys.
making sure that his men and women are getting paid adequately.
Yeah.
He's done a phenomenal job with that, and so has the Morgan County Board of Commissioners. Speaking of Board of Commissioners,
Yeah.
you know, in Newton County, I'm telling you, Leanne Long's doing a phenomenal job. Let me
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. And she represents me. I'm in District 5. I'm on
Okay.
Newton Drive in Covington. And
Yeah. She's
and
a fighter, man. She'll get in there and
isn't she?
scrap.
We needed her 20 years ago.
I know. Yeah.
But Stan is doing a phenomenal job.
Yep.
I think them going out there and, you know, the way that they use their social media to explain to the residents of Newton County what's
Mm-hmm.
going on
Yeah. Very helpful.
has been so effective.
Mm-hmm.
It's so effective. And we have a commission right now that's using their heads.
Mm-hmm.
They're using their heads, and they're being smart. And for the longest time, we were always told, well, you know, the catchword was growth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some growth I understand is good,
Mm-hmm.
but some is not.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
if you have leaders that just kowtow and fall down,
Right.
you know, they don't have a spine, they just fall over,
Mm-hmm.
then that's not very effective. But right now in Newton County, we have some leaders that have a backbone, and they're standing up strong,
Yeah.
and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah, they are doing a good job. And there's some, you know, these data center gold mines, the gold rush for data centers right now. And those are two loud voices to say, hey, wait a minute. Only if it's in the exact right place and if we have the infrastructure for it, then okay. But otherwise, no, and no.
This episode of the Town Square Podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Appalachia Group Insurance.
When it comes to protecting my family, my home, and my car, I trust Bobby Stevens at the Appalachia Group Insurance Company. Bobby and his partner Matt McLean are both licensed in Georgia and Tennessee, and they have been insurance experts for a combined over 36 years.
What makes the Appalachia Group different? Well, they're independent. That means they're not locked into just one carrier. They shop around for you to find the best coverage at the best price, from auto, home, and life insurance to commercial policies, and even special event coverage. They've got you covered.
And let me tell you, Bobby isn't just a great agent. He's a trusted advisor. He's winsome, likable, and responsive. Every conversation I've had with him leaves me more confident that my insurance needs are in good hands.
That's right. So if you're looking for insurance that works for you, not the other way around,
Call my guy Bobby Stevens at the Appalachia Group Insurance today. You can reach him at 770-728-1880. That's 770-728-1880. Or send him an email at bobby@appgroupsins.com. That's Bobby at appgroupins for insurance.com.
And one other thing, you know, what are we doing in Newton County schools right now? You just had the superintendent, and I think it was Dr. Buff and another one from Newton County
Dr.
school
Schmidt,
system, talking about how we're preparing young people for the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting them young, right?
Yeah. kindergarten, man.
That's a phenomenal. See, we're adapting, and that's one of the the difference between good football teams and great football teams is halftime adjustments.
There you go. I know a team that's good at it.
Yes.
I wish they would start that way.
Correct. But that's one of the things that made Nick Saban such a phenomenal coach.
That's right, yeah.
Is he was able to make halftime adjustments and then come out in the second half and do what he needed to do to win football games.
Right, yeah.
So if you look at that at this level, that's exactly what y'all were doing over there. And it's a great thing because, look, not everybody needs to go to college. I think we're finally learning that.
That's right.
That college is not for everybody. We're sending a lot of young people to college right now. They're being indoctrinated in these schools. Make no mistake about it. They are going to these schools with these very left-wing, very liberal professors, and they're being taught to hate this country, to hate the way that we live our life, to hate our traditional values. And it becomes an us versus them situation and a very bad dynamic.
And they come out with $150,000 in debt.
And they come out with yeah. Charlie Kirk used to always say that college is a scam, and not in all situations.
Right.
But if you're going and you're paying $150,000 to get a degree in gender studies,
right? Yeah,
that's foolish.
How many gender studies specialists do we need?
Correct, because you're not going to find any kind of good job and be able to. All that you have done at that point is you've got a piece of paper that's worthless, and you've got a huge amount of debt and a hatred for America.
Right.
God help us.
Yeah. Well, God help us indeed, and I hope that you're able to be that representative that is able to put God first and represent our people and do so with fidelity, and I'm sure you will. So.
Well, I'm working my butt off every single day to make that happen.
Dude, I know you are. You are busy right now on this campaign trail. So is there any break? You're going to have to take a break for Thanksgiving or something and sit down and eat some turkey?
Well, of course.
Okay.
And I think that's important. We got to we got to strengthen our families. We got to be with our families, but why do we have Thanksgiving is to give thanks.
Yeah. And
so there's a lot corporations have made it about making money. We've seen that happen to Christmas too, but I hope that families will get together in Thanksgiving and grow together. That's so important. I think if the focus is on the family. Yeah. I'm so adamant about that. So am I going to take a break? I've always tell people, don't worry about the mule, just load the wagon. I'm 31 years old, and I look at other people my age, and I keep going back to Charlie Kirk. He was my age. He was 31 years old at the time of his death. That guy was going around working his tail off to save this place. Yeah. Going to the hornet's nest at our college campuses and working day in and day out, not only on that, but get out the vote operations to make sure that Donald Trump was got reelected for a second term. I don't know that I really need much of a break. I enjoy working. I really do. I don't ever get up and feel like I have a job to go, like I have to go clock in for a job. And I'm so blessed by that. Yeah. I get up every day knowing that there's a bigger, more eternal purpose behind everything that I'm doing. And I'm having a blast, Trey. I really am,
man. Well, I'll tell you what, if the Senate and whatever else after that doesn't work out and the legal firm doesn't work out, which I'm sure all of it will, you definitely have a place in the pulpit, it sounds like.
Yeah, so many people have said that. And
I don't mean to just keep affirming it then, but I'm saying you definitely have that old school vibe there in you, man. You can't help it. It just
I do want to help pastors. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I may not be called to be in the pulpit at this point in my life, but, I do want to help pastors be better, and we've been able to do that in many ways at my church, in Dovestone Church. Yeah, and
good church.
Absolutely,
had a good time out there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I'm glad you came.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, man? Parting shot. Where do people go and find you if they want more information, or if they want to give to the campaign, or what do they need to do?
So our website is doneforgeorgia.com. I am on Instagram and Facebook. Bret Dunn on Facebook. Dunn for Georgia on Facebook. Bret Dunn GA on Instagram.
Okay.
And I just want to, I'll share this. I brought my little red book, and you can see right there, it says Bret's Maxims on it. I made a little label for it.
I like that.
And so anytime that I hear something I think is just profound, I always make a point to write it down. And one of the things I just opened it, and it, the principles you live by will determine the world you live in. I took that uniform off this summer, and then I'll never put it on again. And I grappled with that because I knew that there was never a day when I didn't know what my purpose was. It was a bigger purpose. And then God laid this on my heart to run for state senate. Because I was thinking for a long time, maybe I'll stay in the Marine Corps Reserves and keep doing that in a way. But that door was not there for me. Well, it was certainly there. I just didn't, when God shuts the door, don't go through the window.
Right.
Yeah. And this was laid on my heart so clearly. And we talked, he put a big cheeseburger in front of me and I ate it.
Yeah.
And we have been in this campaign for 6 months now. I think it's safe to say that we're winning. and look, the uniform came off, but the mission is the same.
Right.
This is all about serving people. It's about glorifying God and making sure that we leave this community better than we found it. And an old fella once told me, said, you can't expect anybody to give you anything if you don't ask. So if you're listening to this right now or watching this, I'd appreciate your vote and your support.
Yeah. Well, Bret, thank you so much for being here, man. And can't wait to see what's next on the journey.
Thank you, brother.
All right, man. We'll see you.
See ya.